Bro 4 Squad podcast, where if we found some weird chick screaming from inside our walls, first thing we do is take pictures to make sure we get our security deposit back. This is our review of the Cloverfield Paradox. Thank you guys for joining us. I am Jeff Hornacek. Alongside me is the mad scientist Brian Banner and our legal counsel Ronnie Cycli to review this movie as we do all our movies on the 5 Bro 4 Squad criteria, acting, story, best scene, any impacts, and its rewatchability. Let's jump right into the acting and the cast. Ronnie Cycli, as a lawyer, would you convict anyone in this movie of sucking or being awesome?
I would say I think there'd be a hung jury. Everyone would be right in the middle. I don't think anyone really stood out. I don't think anyone. I think I felt the acting was sufficient for a movie that could have been considered a straight to DVD release type of acting. I thought. I think we said Chris O'Dowd. Was that the guy Irish actor's name?
Yeah, who played Mundy.
Yeah, he was. I thought he was funny. I thought he delivered his lines with the right direction, and he cracked me up a few times. But I think if there were problems, it was more in the dialogue, in the script writing, than the actual acting overall. But nothing stood out though. I don't think there was one actor out of this you go, oh man, he knocked it out of the park, or she was incredible.
This was a great cast of like role players. If you're a fan of 90s NBA basketball, it's like we had 8 Tony Koo coaches. So there was no one who's like an MVP, but also it's just a solid group of players. Brian, what did you...
3 or 4 seed, maybe.
Yeah, if they can get some nice scheduling. Brian, what'd you think of the cast?
Yeah, I think that was a great way to put it, is that nobody was out of this park, but nobody was really bad. You talked about Monday. I agree. I thought he was really funny. I'll talk about whatever the fuck that Russian guy's name was. He was bad. Yeah. He was bad.
Wasn't it cool, though, to finally see a Russian villain in a movie, like a bad guy? I thought that was just a cool...
Well, here's my question. Is he Russian in real life?
I don't know.
Because he's probably English.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
One dynamic that I want to point out real quick, Gugu Mbatha Raw, who played Hamilton, and Elizabeth Debicki, who played Jensen. I'll get to them in a second with Best Scene, but I thought their stuff was really, really good. Like, I could almost watch a movie just on their weird relationship cross-dimensionally, and, like, that was just really intriguing to me, the stuff that they had together. All right, on to story and plot. This is one that's kind of tough to unpack, as is always the case with the Cloverfield franchise. Banner, we'll go to you first. What'd you think?
As an individual movie, I really enjoyed it. Honestly, this is probably my second favorite Cloverfield.
Wow.
I know yesterday it was my favorite. I've backed off of that statement a little bit. 10 Cloverfield Lane is still better. I'm a huge fan of like 2 dimensions blasting into each other and just commingling and seeing what comes out. That sounds like a porno, but
they became co-people.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of stories like that and how people would react and kind of reflecting on how I would react if that was true. And I thought that this is, especially the stuff with Hamilton, that was very, very realistic on how somebody would act when you lose your kids that way and you have an option to go see them again. And then you also have to make that conscious decision. Do you warn your other dimensional self of what you did and to not make that same mistake so they don't have to go through that same heartache? I loved that stuff. I thought it was really cool. And then the whole part with them just losing the earth, I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. If we haven't said this yet, guys, this is going to be a spoilers review. So if you're listening to this, I would hope you've already seen the movie. Cycli, this was one of those films you and I talked about afterwards. We still don't know exactly what the fuck we just saw, but we know enough to where we can say, how does this work, you think, on its own or within the canon? I use that loosely, of the Cloverfield movies.
Yeah, so I kind of disagree with Brian over there.
Well, fuck you then.
I mean, I just see where he's going with it. I know, but hey, I will tell you, I love the 2-dimensional concept. I love those type of movies. This felt like it was trying to be a B-rate original Alien movie. We had a cast of characters on a ship. We have people going toe-to-toe with each other. And, you have your random characters or things explode from inside of them. But when it comes down to the story in the Cloverfield, I felt that if they removed just all the Cloverfield mentions, where does this movie stand on its own? I mean, because
it doesn't.
What Cloverfield is doing right now is kind of just throwing out different stories around the same timeline. And I like the idea, but I don't think it was delivered on a standalone movie. And I don't think I would have watched this movie if it didn't have Cloverfield attached to the name.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. If you take Cloverfield off this, I'd probably still watch it. I think I like Daniel Bruhl. I like the cast, but I definitely am not like running home after the Super Bowl ends to go see it like Brian did, which I was jealous that he did. Because Cloverfield is what got us in the door, and the fact that Bad Robot knows that, I'm putty in their hands. I'm just going to admit it. All right, the best scene, Cycly. What do you got?
For me, I went into this movie wanting more monsters after we had 10 Cloverfield Lane. I was ready to see the connection made then. So my best scene is actually the very end when they are in the escape pod falling to Earth, and that, I don't even know what you call it, that alien monster's head roars above the clouds. And just, I'm like, that's what I've been waiting for. Yeah. I want to see more of that. So I just absolutely love the last scene. I'm glad they tied it in together, at least to a point. But, I'm kind of getting impatient, so I got excited there.
Yeah. In Impact, we'll have the quick debate that Banner and I had last night, whether how this connects and makes sense.
There's no debate. For me, I'm right.
You're not. Yeah. Best scene for me. I mean, that's one I want to take. I'll just say though, because I thought this was something that was relatively unique that we haven't really seen unless you count the Addams Family. But I'll say Chris O'Dowd's arm/sex toy of the future scene was pretty cool and pretty bizarre and just creepy. And then again, a scene that I thought was just like unbelievably well written was the scene with Jensen and Hamilton, where Jensen is describing what Hamilton's like in her reality and what she's like with her family. That stuff was just so well acted and well written that I was like, oh, okay, so this may be a sci-fi movie, but we also kind of give a shit about the characters too. Banner?
My favorite scene, mainly because of the visuals, and here's a fun fact for you. I'm going to drop in. Cloverfield was about $25 million to make. 10 Cloverfield Lane was about $15 to make. This movie was $45 million to make. So they spent some money on this. Obviously, with the spaceship and everything, it cost a lot of money. My favorite scene was actually when Mundy died. He put that like cool magnetic metal stuff over all the couplings, and then the wall became magnetized, and all that stuff came out and went through him and pulled him back to the wall and through his mouth and his eyes. Visually and CGI wise, I thought that was fantastic. So that was my favorite scene, just from a visual standpoint.
Yeah, I didn't know what was going on there, but it was cool as hell.
Nobody knows what was going on there.
All right, the impact.
This was to kill you. I mean, I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there, though. That was like spring break '98. The impact. Cycly, will go to you. So let's not do impact on pop culture, but what does this movie mean, or how do you think it fits within the Cloverfield canon? Because I think that's really where it's going to have an impact. And then if you want to say anything about its release format and what this could change, because I think we could all add a little bit to that.
I'll absolutely say that the release format was fantastic. I mean, like you said earlier, even if it was Cloverfield, I wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have ran to the theater 5 minutes after the Super Bowl. I probably wouldn't have even gone the next day. But man, because it told me it was out immediately, like that's incredible. Great job by Netflix for doing something like that. When goes to pop culture, goes to impact, I gotta say it's not up to this movie. It's gonna be up to the remaining Cloverfield films. Because as a standalone, I'm still iffy about it. I don't know what it means, what it takes. Now, if we see a huge connection in the fourth one, or if they continue this in the fifth one, I can look back at it like when I saw Saw 3, I didn't think much of it. But then when you saw Saw 4, you look back and think Saw 2 was incredible. I think the determination of how good this one's going to be is not up to it, but it's up to the story that hopefully Cloverfield connects soon.
Agreed. Yeah, if it was just released in theaters, like when you texted me that I think this is going to be on Netflix tonight, I was like, what the hell? It's incredible. Banner, what do you have for impact?
Yeah, I want to say something, Cycle. I think that the Saw franchise is a fantastic kind of parallel to this. I think overall, as independent films, these are going to be better than the Saw franchise, but that's a debate for another day. But I agree. I think that this movie, you can't really judge its impact just on itself from the storytelling standpoint. Biggest impact here is going to be that they released it on Netflix, and I think that they should continue this entire franchise on Netflix now. I think that this movie would not have done well in theaters, but I think because people can watch it 2, 3, 4 times over again, they can hop on Netflix and watch 10 Cloverfield Lane as well, or hop over to Amazon Prime and watch Cloverfield or 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's going to do a lot better, and I think that if they continue the franchise in this almost anthology, they're almost anthology movies that are loosely connected at this point, and then if they come in with a 4th or 5th movie that is, bam, here's the connective tissue where they're all connected, and you can sit down in a day and watch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, 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 boom. I think it's going to be very successful. It's going to change the way that we're watching these movies.
Yeah, I just want them on Netflix for that instant gratification. All right, rewatchability, Boehner, I got to say something here. This makes me want to go back and rewatch the first Cloverfield because the connective tissue, as much as I love it to this film, just simply doesn't make sense. In the original Cloverfield, set in 2008, might I add, there's timestamps on the video, it is not painted as a world that is in an energy crisis.
It's because they're in the United States.
It's a world in an energy crisis, which last I checked, that's where the United States was. But that's just not how it's depicted. I'm fine with them sort of wedging it into canon, but that's something that I want to see. Are there allusions to it? Are there not? I don't really care either way. I just think if they're trying to squeeze it in, I would just like to know for my own sanity. Banner, for the sake of debate, I'll let you go next.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this movie came out 15 minutes after the Super Bowl was over. I saw Nick Foles win the MVP, and I immediately turned it on. In 24 hours, I watched it twice because I watched it, and then my wife wanted to watch it with me on Monday night, so we did. We also watched Cloverfield, and we watched 10 Cloverfield Lane since then as well. So in 3 days, I've watched 4 Cloverfield movies. As far as rewatchability, like I said, I think this is my second favorite. I don't really like Cloverfield. 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Wow.
10 Cloverfield Lane is fantastic. That is a movie that it doesn't matter what's going on, whether it's connected or not. That is a great movie in itself. John Goodman has one of the best individual performances of the entire franchise, and probably one that we've seen recently.
Cycly, rewatchability, and just because I'm curious, how do you rank the 3 Cloverfield films, Cycly?
You know, rewatchability, I don't think there was anything special there. I have no problem. I'll probably watch it one more time. And, you know, I'll watch it again maybe after the 4th one comes out. But there wasn't there wasn't extra things there. Like, I felt like 10 Cloverfield Lane had something you might have missed, or definitely with the original Cloverfield, with the way it was filmed. This was pretty straightforward. There wasn't some hidden message going on. It was kind of straight to the point. So I don't feel the need to rewatch it, but I also won't fight rewatching it. Like I said, I'll probably watch it one more time with my wife, probably watch it again after the 4th one. And it ranks, it was a pretty easy ranking to me. It ranks 3 out of 3. I go back and forth between the first
It's 100%. That means it's first.
Wait, what?
It's 100%. Means it's first.
That doesn't make sense, but you can have your own system, and we'll have ones that make sense, I guess.
I would say that the first one, at least, I appreciate like what it did. You know, it definitely started, you know, the way they did the handheld camera, and they did it without you getting queasy, and they did it in a way that was entertaining consistently, was fantastic. But 10 Cloverfield Lane was just a great thriller, something that I always enjoy. So I put 1 and 1, back and forth, 1 for 1 and 2, and then this is a solid 3. Solid last place.
I agree. I go 10 Cloverfield Lane, the original Cloverfield, and then this. But after hearing Banner rewatched Cloverfield and it still ranks 3rd for him, I may have to go back and revisit it because I think I might be putting it on a bit of a pedestal and it needs to be reevaluated just because I have fond memories of it. Might not be as accurate. All right, guys, for the mad scientist Brian Banner and our legal counsel Ronnie Cycly, we have been the Bro4 Squad. Thanks for checking us out. Give us a follow on Twitter at Bro4 Squad. Subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes, Bro4 Squad. That's 3 words. And check out everything that we're doing on our website at bro4squad.com. If we don't see you next time, it's not because we want to ignore you. It's because we're in another dimension, I promise. That's what I told this chick in middle school, and I dumped her. It worked.